Hello, hello, and welcome back to Latinas Empoderadas. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Kelsey.
And today we have a super special guest. I'm going to let my friend do the honors on introducing because it is one of her great friends from back in the day.
Yes. So here with us today is a very special person, more like my brother. Hi, brother. Arturo Flores.
Hi, everyone.
Mayor of Huntington Park.
Yeah.
So hi, everyone at home. My name is Arturo Flores. I'm the mayor for the great city of Huntington Park. Jackie, thank you for inviting me. And Kelsey, thank you for inviting me as well. It's been quite some time.
Yep.
But you know what I was going to tell you? When you have friendship, like good friendships with someone, because Kelsey's like family.
Yeah.
And I was in the Marines as well. You can literally pick up the phone, and even if you haven't talked to someone in like months, they're like low maintenance relationships.
Yeah.
Because you know why?
We love low maintenance relationships, let me tell you.
People are adults, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You have your own life, your own families, your own issues. And I mean, it's just wonderful that, you know, I consider you one of those people that whenever I see you, we pick up right from where we left off.
Yes.
So I'm excited to be here. And
Yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
excited
Thank you
to
for
have
joining.
you.
you guys have me in the hot seat.
Yes.
What are the charges?
Well, hold on. We don't know yet. Let's go ahead and just, who is Arturo Flores? Who is that?
Who is Arturo Flores? Oh, you guys are bringing in the... It's funny, like if you guys didn't share the questions before the interview.
We talk.
They briefly mentioned them, but like 5 minutes ago, so I haven't really had a lot of time. Honestly,
So he's not going to lie.
From the heart. From the heart.
So honestly, who is Arturo Flores? I think that's something. Oh, who am I? I think it's I'm a work in progress, right?
Mhm.
I think that, you know, even I myself, you know, as I'm 37 now. Actually, my birthday passed June 30th, and I was telling everybody that I was turning 38. And then when I did the math, I'm like, oh wait, I'm actually 37. Like
Adding the year.
Happy birthday, Arturo! Another year of life, you know, another year younger. But I think when people say "Who are you?" I think you're referring to like who are you in the past, right? Like, or who are you? Like, what's your identity? Because I think we are all these complex people. So you know, I was born and raised in South Central, right?
Yep.
Family of immigrants from Zacatecas.
Okay.
Zapateado.
Yes.
I joined the Marine Corps at a very young age. I was a military police officer, and my job was to train bomb dogs. And we can talk about that a little bit later. And then I, decided to, serve the nation. I went, to Iraq. Mm-hmm. So I would say, like, who is Arturo Flores? I'm, un Mexicano orgulloso. I'm a Marine veteran, right? Who's been to war twice.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, it's just, I'm somebody that really likes to speak up and defend people.
Yes.
Like, that's who I am. Like, at the core of it, like, I'm somebody that I'm a defender. I mean, it's just.
The list goes on.
The list goes on. But I think at the end of the day, that question of like, who am I is really defined by like the legacy that I want to leave when I leave this world. And I think the legacy I want to leave is a legacy of service to others and speaking up for people that, would be, scared or intimidated or don't feel that they have the voice or they can lose, a lot by
speaking up, or don't have the resources.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I think, at the root of it, like,
it's a scary question, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of it, like, like Arturo Flores, like I'm one of the people, right? Like you're going to have a conversation with me and at some point you're going to hear a story about me or one of my identities where you're going to say, oh, my brother did that or, oh, my cousin did that. Right.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that happened to this or,
Yeah.
And so I think at the core of it, that's who I am. Right. I'm someone that truly, defends people, but I also, I keep it too real sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I think that's what we're missing sometimes when you have these conversations, that people don't want to have these tough conversations. It's like, you got to keep it real sometimes. So that's how I view myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that answer, actually.
The fact that you said, who are you? You're a work in progress.
100%.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we think about like who we are and we're like, oh, we have to be this image, right?
Or how he said, you go into your past.
Well, shit, I know people that you're like, who are you? Well, I have an 825 credit score. And you're like, okay, wait.
Hold on, what?
Tell me your credit. You know, I own this. I have a, like this is the kind of car I drive. Mm-hmm. I live in this zip code. I think one time I told somebody like, oh, I live in Huntington Park. Yo, why do you live in Huntington Park? I said,
excuse me.
First of all,
I'm the mayor for the city. Oh, well, that's different. I'm like, so not because I'm the mayor now.
Yeah, you got power there. Okay.
Yeah, so I think too often we get too wrapped up with like zip codes and like the physical of it. Yeah. And then we forget like, yeah, that's a good question. So I don't think I tie the who am I to any like
specific,
any like physical, like, the cars or money or, that kind of stuff. Yeah, but I am a work in progress, 100%. I think we all are.
I think, we definitely all are.
Yeah. I think every time I hear that question, I'm like, damn, I don't even know who I am.
Yeah. Like, who you were last year, you're probably not right now.
Who we are right now.
I mean, that's scary. If you're the same person that you were last year, that to me that's scary.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or even 5 years ago, there's people who are still doing the same damn thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You should not, you shouldn't recognize yourself. And I think, there's people that say, sometimes you outgrow friends, you outgrow people. And I hate when people say like, oh yeah, no, this person, and then they switched up on me or they changed up on us. And it's like, I have friends that at some point, now they make, a lot of money. And I was having a conversation with one of them and I was like, well, now that, you have this going on for you and, obviously like on a whole nother level. And he's like, Arturo, you know what I realized, Arturo? Is that it wasn't me that changed. Is me having money changed the people around me. Mm-hmm. And so he's like, that was the part that really opened my eyes. I was like, when you, as you go through your different phases in life, becoming a business owner, right? Or whatever it is, people around you, they change because the way that they view you, their perception of you has to change. Yeah. And some people don't like that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Some 100%. People, that's uncomfortable. Like, why you?
Ay, mira esa creída.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you become the problem.
Yes.
When the problem is them for feeling, some type of way that you're, like, I think we've talked about this before.
We actually have.
Yeah, where somebody is,
Damn, I knew I should have gone and looked at your guys' episodes. I knew I should, because I was like, episode 5.
Yeah, you said that.
I remember that. Yeah.
You're a busy man. New dad. You don't got time for that.
But what were you saying? You said you've said that
where
before?
We've talked about it, where it's like some people feel some type of way because we've done the same thing right together, and some work a little harder than others, and we surpass them. And then they look at you like, creída, like, ya cambió. She got a little money and she's different now. And it's like,
she bought a house. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
the one thing that I'll tell you that I've seen people have the hardest time accepting when it comes to growth, because a lot of it, we're talking about money, but fuck that. I'm talking about boundaries, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I'm talking about boundaries.
Yeah.
One thing that I've seen people cannot grasp around is when you start to explore self-love as a person, when you start to grow emotionally,
clock it,
right? And you set boundaries, especially with family, because you already know, us Latinos, we come some cycles.
Oh my God.
We come from cycles of abuse, cycles.
Yes, we do.
And so when you set those boundaries, even with family, even with people who you thought were locked in, were tight, and some of them, they can't accept it.
Nope.
I remember one time, I don't want to talk about my siblings too much, but
Wait. By the way, guys, he has 10 siblings.
Oh, yeah.
Like brother and sister.
Yeah, like brother and sisters.
Oh, yeah. That's what so I grew up in South Central.
What number are you?
I'm number 6. But I grew up in South Central. That's why I'm not part of a gang. Because literally, there's 10 of us. So, if I'm on the block and, I'm riding my bike and somebody tries to steal it, or there's one time somebody did steal my bike. And I looked at him and I'm like looking how tall he is. And I'll be back. And I run to my house.
My brother.
And I go get my brother, the older one. Like, hey, they just took my bike. We go down there, And then, like, it's just like for every occasion I had a brother or a sister. Or if they were older, I had a tío or a tía. Because they, Mexican families back then, you had like 9, 10, 14 kids.
Yep.
But I was going to tell you, you start to set boundaries, right? And I remember one time I had told I set a boundary with one of my siblings, like, hey, look, like, I don't want you to bring this person into my home. Right. And she was like, oh, okay. And I guess she thought I was like playing. Yeah. And so, like, whatever, 2 weeks go by and we're heading back home, all of us, like, I'm driving, I'm the DD. And, my sibling was like, had a few drinks in her. This person's going to come over. We're just going to talk. And I was like, oh, hold the fuck up.
You're like, well.
I said, wait, I don't know what part you didn't understand about that. And it was one of those moments where I realized, like, like my family, like some of my siblings, like we have, like, even like I have a younger brother that I was like, hey, that girl this was a few years ago. I said, hey, that girl you're dating, like, don't bring her around, like, my house. Like, I don't feel comfortable with her here.
Yeah.
Whether it's a mala espina, call it energy, call it aura.
Yes.
And then,
call it what you call it.
Call it what you want to call it.
And a week goes by and he's like, hey, by the way, I'm going to swing by. Oh, and by the way, this person's with me. And I'm like, I don't know what like.
¿Cómo te hago entender
maybe tú te lo dije en español, a lo mejor, o te lo digo en francés, o bonjour.
En China.
Yeah, oui, merci.
Yeah.
But, it really is what it's on. But just to get off that subject, it really is. Like, once you start to set those boundaries, that's when you really start to see that some people, they can't accept it.
Yeah, that is so true.
You have the hardest time. But the people that do, that's what's up. So shout out to the people that, when people set boundaries, that respect them, that honor them. Like, shout out to you guys.
I think it's because we think more emotionally. We're more like, we close it closer to like emotion rather than like, okay, I'm gonna respect whatever this person told me, instead of like sentirte mal, like, ay, qué grosero conmigo. And it's like, no, let go of your emotions, and it's my boundaries that I'm setting. But as Latinos, I feel like we're always so like, you have to please, like, for example, we have family parties, and I'm having, when is this dropping? Okay, so I'm planning a surprise birthday party for my husband on Saturday, and I'm not inviting.
Surprise is not going to be ruined.
It's not, because it'll drop on Monday.
It's going to drop on Monday after the party.
Yeah, after the party. So I'm not inviting certain people, and my mom's like, well, why not? I'm like, well, because that's not like, there's not his friends, it's not his family. It might be my family, but that's his boundary. If he, I know,
it's almost like when you get married and you're like, no children.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so
people are like, what do you mean no children? Like, that's my boundary.
Yeah. So how do you feel about that now that you have a baby, right?
It's simple. Like, I really have to find a babysitter that I trust, because obviously, it's a sensitive subject, but you already know that Latinos, I'm not going to say Latinos, but my family, I have a history with my family of SA, right? Okay. And it's something that when I was a kid, me and my brother, we stood up to it, and we started, calling, and man, this is like deep, but we started calling the cops. And there's a time where I remember, like, growing up in my house in South Central, people were like, oh yeah, it was like bad, dude. Like, I grew up in like a broken home, like a super first generation machista, like my dad was very, very abusive. I remember one time, he whipped me with like a piece of hose, that cheap green one that's hard.
Wow. From Home Depot.
And I ran across the street and I called the cops. And then the next day I had my leg. This is me at like 12, 13 years old. My leg was bruised, purple from my knee all the way up to my thigh, purple. And it was me and my older brother, Peter. Shout out to my brother, Peter.
Hey,
and we started just calling the cops. After that, we just started calling the cops.
Yeah.
And it was really about breaking,
That's so crazy that you say that, because I had an uncle. I mean, he was just an alcoholic, druggie, and I'm 9 years old, fighting with a grown-ass man, calling the cops on him.
Yeah.
Like, that stays with you. Like, that just, they tell you forgive people, and I do, but it's kind of like, I tell my mom, because my mom, he did a lot of harm to my mom, and my mom will obviously feed him, clothe him, whatever. But she's like, he lives in Mexico now. In the last maybe 4 years that I went, I saw him and I was like, do not put my window down. I'm not talking to this man. She's like, ay, pero es tu tío. And I'm like,
I mean, rightfully so.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking with this person. Like, he can be my blood, but he has done a lot of shady things. And that's like my childhood trauma that I'm like, why did I have to live that? You know?
Well, I don't think that I knew you when I was like 15, 16.
No.
But when I was 16, I ran away from home.
Wow.
Like, I left. And I remember it was like, my dad, this is my house. This is my rules. And if you don't fucking like it, then get the fuck out. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
that's it. Yeah,
because they don't let us leave.
Yeah, I grabbed the backpack. I, threw some fucking calzones, some socks. And like a few days later, the cops, like picked me up and they brought me back. And then, me, like, when I was a kid, I was an asshole. I was like, I'm kind of an asshole now sometimes too, but when I was a kid, I remember I was walking back in, the cops had brought me back, and I'm like, looking at it, well, I guess this is Mexico. I guess this isn't how that works. You know, you want to have kids, you got to take it. Apparently, you have to buy his clothes too. Apparently, you have to buy his food. Apparently, I'm not supposed to go to work with my grandpa for the basic fucking necessities. You know what I'm saying? Like food, clothes. So I grew up in that typical, I will say this, I grew up in the typical, like, if si quieres algo, go work for it and buy it for yourself. Yeah. Which was great for work ethic. But then at the same time, like, you know, I'm 9 and 10 years old.
Our parents did give us the bare minimum. Yeah. And we had to, like, when that's the basic bare
I remember necessities. I went to work at 9 years old with my grandfather to do jardín.
Wow.
And we get to, you know, Truesdale Estates, Beverly Hills, and this white lady comes out. Jose, no, he's too small. Back in the car. And that was my first day of work. And I sat in the car the whole time in the truck because this lady didn't want me working. Yeah. Because I looked too young. So grandpa's like, well, when my grandpa, rest in peace, but he's like, grandpa's like, oh, we'll try next summer. And next summer I hit a growth spurt. I got a little bit taller. I was still the run of the litter. And that's when I started working. I was like 9 and a half, almost 10 years old when I started working, you know, with my grandfather doing landscaping. And imagine you do that from 9 all the way to 15, 16. So when I was a kid at 16, I already had 5 or 6 years of experience.
Yeah,
not just being a landscaper, but that was a family business. Yeah. So negotiating, translating, like all of that at that age, right? Already having the understanding of like, and I remember one time we did a walkthrough with my grandfather, and you know, at this point I had 3 to 4 years of already like the prices, and we're walking through and my grandpa does not speak English, and he's like, oh, the guy, okay, how much for this palm tree? And my grandpa, dile que lo hacemos por $3.50. And I was like, okay. He said he'll do it for $5.50. I just started adding hundreds at one point. And then I think at the end of the day, you know, when it got done, the guy's like, okay, so the total job's going to be like, you know, the guy does the math. And my grandpa's like, so todo va a ser, you know, $2,500. Yeah. And then the guy's like, yeah, I have my number, so $3,500. And my grandpa's like, pero dile que no son los números. And I said, no, pa, dijo que si lo termina. And I like, dice que lo termina, if you finish it in 2 days, and he'll give you another 1,000. But I was just like, you know, like I'll do stuff like that, and you know,
you're hustling.
For the most part, it worked out. So I'll be like, oh no, he says like that if you finish it early, or do that, but then clean this, and then he'll give you extra money. So it was just interesting seeing that dynamic. I grew up. I mean, the irony of that is I grew up seeing these beautiful multi-million-dollar properties. One of the clients for my family was John Appleson, I think, who's a director of Rocky, the movie, like huge Hollywood producer. Yeah. Rocky 3, Lean on Me, I think Karate Kid. This guy's like a multi-millionaire. He owned a home up there, like $7 million home. Wow. Beautiful. But the irony was that I would go to these homes that have nice, beautiful grass, and then I'd go to South Central and like,
your grass is dead.
We didn't even have grass. I remember I was raking dirt one time. Like, you just rake the dirt and leave really nice patterns, really nice raking patterns, and that's how you know that the dirt got raked. So. But that was kind of my upbringing. Is like I ended up going into foster care at 16, and it became a ward of the court.
Wow.
Yeah, so I ended up graduating from Highland Park, actually. Yeah, Highland Park High School. And my first school was CSUN, Comatadors. That was my first school before I joined the Marines. Yeah.
Is that kind of what pushed you into going to the Marines? Because you didn't see other opportunities?
What pushed me into military service, and I'll be very frank with you, at a young age, I realized that whatever being a man was, I didn't understand. I didn't have a good example of what it was to be a man. Because I would look at my dad and I'd be like, I'm not trying to be like this fucking guy. I might cuss a lot, but I'm not trying to be like this guy. So, 16, 17, I'm at a boys' home in Highland Park at Optimus Youth Homes and Family. I'm at a boys' home. And, obviously, you see adults, you see male role models, but I really didn't have the foundation of like, this is how you're supposed to conduct yourself as a man, as a person. And the Marines was, and I remember I was at CSUN full time. And then I was working part-time at Subway. And then I was working part-time as a security guard for Westfield. And I remember one time I got paid and I paid all my bills and I had $20 left for gas. Because at this time, I don't have any support.
Yeah.
And I'm up in the valley somewhere. Yeah. pumping my last $20 on this Mustang GT, which I had no business owning. It's a V8. And, I had just got my license. So the insurance on that thing was almost as much as a car payment.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it just really was almost this assessment of like, if I don't do something
now,
if I don't do like an intentional alignment, I'm going to fucking fail. And that's when I was trying to convince one of my security guard buddies not to join the Marines. And he was going to go talk to him. And I said, I'll go with you because this is bullshit. This is Bush's war. This is Bush's war. And it's about oil. And fuck that. I'm going to go with you because I want to hear what the fuck this guy's got to say. And I get there and literally, the guy, the first thing, and Staff Sergeant Salazar, which was a recruiter for Canoga Park. And he's like, he sits us down and he's like, I'm going to be honest with you guys. He's like, you guys are going to fucking hate this. You're going to be in boot camp and you're going to be like, fuck Staff Sergeant Salazar. The guy tricked me. He's like, it's going to be the worst experience. You're going to hate it. He's like, but when you get done and when you become a Marine, he's like, it's going to be one of the greatest accomplishments in your life. You're going to be part of one of the greatest brotherhoods in the world. Wow. And I just sat there and I was like, I'm in. And I told him, like, if you and this is December. And I'm like, I said, if you get me out of here in 3 weeks, I'll sign up. I'm out. And we can get you in February. I said, no, you don't get it. Like if now. In 3 weeks you can get me out.
And how old were you at this time?
18. 18, and I signed up. I wanted to go LAPD, but I was only 18, so you have to wait to be 19. I didn't have the luxury to wait that long.
Yeah.
So I ended up working out deals so that I could go as a military police officer. And he's like, well, if you want to be an MP, you have to get a certain score on the ASVAB. And I ended up studying. I took the ASVAB and I scored. I got the score that I needed, and I ended up actually getting the
position,
the designation. Yeah. So I ended up going to San Diego, and then I ended up going after that to Missouri. That's where they did the MP school. And then when I was in MP school, they did another, like, I call it competition, but it's a board for K-9 school. And that's when I ended up getting selected to go back to San Antonio for like a year. Okay. And in San Antonio, it was just a year of just training dogs. Wow. Like, imagine for a year you get paid and all you have to do is like play with dogs, which is really what you're doing is training them, right? Yeah. You're teaching a dog that, like, if you do this, then, if you, take this step and then you do this action and then you get this reward and then you keep doing that, doing that. And these dogs are like high drive, right? On like a tennis ball. And then at some point you say, okay, you smell something and then you react this way and then the tennis ball. So at some point you put whatever it is you want that dog to find. And they do that with money too. At the border, they'll do that with money. There's dogs that literally will find money. That's what they're trained. Yeah, they're trained to find dollar bills.
Wow.
Like they even smell.
So the thing with dogs is that their senses are like for example, like their hearing is like 100 times better. Their smell, thousands of times better. So we smell a hamburger, right? Yeah. Well, the dog will smell that hamburger and will smell the lettuce. Will smell the water that's running down the lettuce. Will smell the tomato. Will smell the bread. Will smell the meat. Every individual ingredient. The dog's able to
sniff it out.
Okay, yeah, that's meat. That's cheese. Okay, that's sesame seed. Like that's so crazy. Why it's different. So imagine instead of a hamburger, you're talking about explosives.
Yeah.
Okay, that's TNT.
Yeah.
That's silver sulfide. Oh, that's an IED for sure. Right? The dog's able to determine this is TNT, this is dynamite, this is, the water gel. Like this is a water, like, the dog can determine. Yeah. So it's just been amazing. Like, and first it's just amazing just seeing it happen. But then when you're like, I did this for a year and then they're like, oh, hey, you're getting deployed to Iraq.
Oh, wow.
And I said, oh, you guys were serious.
So I can't just stay here and train dogs.
These are bomb dogs. You're training bomb dogs. And I'm like, oh, you guys are serious about this?
Yeah.
Like, you want me to go to Iraq and find bombs?
Yeah.
I thought you guys were joking.
Yeah.
And so I ended up deploying in 2008. It was like August or September of 2008. I deployed to Iraq. It was the end of the war, so it was like dwindling down. And I did go to like different bases, but for the most part, it was ending. The war was ending. Got a chance to go out there with, some good Marines deployed. I found some like munitions. There's a bunch of stuff. We'd find stuff that was like from like China, like Chinese munitions. Mm-hmm. Like we'd find like bombs and like artillery shells, and it was all like Chinese writing on them. So, clearly you could see, you knew who was helping, who was funding stuff. Yeah. So it was just, but that was Iraq. Afghanistan was a whole nother.
How long were you in Afghanistan?
So Iraq, I did 8 months. And then I came back like around May or June, and then you're supposed to wait a year.
Oh,
like
wow.
when you come back from combat deployment, it's mandated that you wait a certain time because you have to give like your mind a break.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because it could be overwhelming.
Yeah.
I ended up waiting my time. So I waited my time, and 4 months later, I was on a deployment to Afghanistan. So I came back like May. It was like May, and then by September, August, I was on a plane.
Wow.
Flying back to Afghanistan. And so Afghanistan, that was a very different experience. It was 2010. It was like the height of the war. There's a bunch of documentaries with the British about Afghanistan and during the 2010. I mean, the Taliban and the fighting, I mean, it really was next level.
Wow.
Some of their tactics, some of their strategies. I mean, the Taliban is a formidable foe, but it wasn't like you go to war and like they have a uniform and you have a uniform. It literally was like straight up guerrilla warfare. Like they would change their tactics every 2 days, 3 days, and we couldn't wait to get the orders from higher up to say now do this different. We literally would have to like change everything that we would do, strategies, tactics, like then and there.
And how long were you there?
8 months.
8 months.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan.
Yeah, in Afghanistan.
Did you lose any of your buddies?
You know what? I don't talk about it. Like I don't talk about it because you relive. Like I'm gonna be honest with you. War is like war is one of the most like disgusting things ever. Like war is to get to a point where as humans we can't even talk about our differences and we have to start fucking killing each other.
Damn.
Like that's to me is like it's a failure in like humanity.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there was one a Marine that when I was in Afghanistan and he ended up getting he got blown up, and he lost his life. And the crazy part is that you guys have kids, right?
Yeah.
You have kids? You watch Disney movies?
Yes.
You watch Toy Story 1,
Yes.
2, 3, WALL-E,
Yes.
Finding Nemo, Finding Dorothy. So there's a gentleman who was the Pixar's guy, the main guy for all of those, everything that I told you. And even there's even more. And the guy's name is Michael Stanton, who's like the main animator. His cousin's name was Jordan Stanton. And Jordan Stanton was a Marine that I was serving with when I was in Afghanistan who lost his life.
Oh,
I will be in the movie theater watching fucking movies that I had no idea that Michael's involved with, and his name will pop up. And when his name pops up, I already know that like, I'm like, oh, that's Jordan's cousin.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it's just like the guy's very talented, bless his soul, but it's even not even wanting to, you get it brings you back.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie to you, like the memories that I had with Jordan were it was great. Being in Afghanistan, the plans that he had, the dreams, the hopes, like listening to his stories. He was just a great kid. I mean, I think when I met him, he was 20, 21.
Wow.
Yeah, I think I was 22 at the time, or he might have even been younger than that. So yeah, we did lose. I lost some friends. That was just from the Marine Recon guys, but from the K9 guys, we also lost some good guys that their dogs might have stepped on something or missed it, and
yeah. Well, that's hard. Well, thank you
for sharing that.
Yeah.
To start off with. So coming back from all of that, what brought you from being a Marine to joining politics? How did all that transition? Because that's something totally. And then coming from the background that you come from.
So when we were in Afghanistan, they made us dig holes because we like stopped and we're doing checkpoints around like this like mountain, and so we dug holes. And so I lived in a hole for like 3 months with my dog. It was me, my dog. Obviously, like we'd get out and then we would do like our patrols and stop cars and search them. But then at the night, we'd get in our hole and the people on the vehicles would do security, but I would sleep in the hole.
Wow.
And I remember one time we ended up getting attacked. The Taliban attacked us. We were getting hit with sniper fire for like a few days. And then there was one night where we got like hit with RPG fire as well. And I remember that I really sat there and I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing in Afghanistan? Like, what am I doing so far away from home? And I was just like, God, if you help me get back alive, like, I promise you that the next time that, something like this is a choice is being made about sending American. And by the way, this is like literally right after we had lost Jordan. If you send me back home alive, like the next time that a decision like this is being made, like I'll be speaking up. I'll be able to say like, have we exhausted like every, diplomatic, option before we go to war. And when Barack Obama was president, I actually got a chance to go to DC to advocate and lobby for the Iran nuclear deal because, my approach was like, that's a diplomatic approach, right? That will prevent, conflicts in the region or prevent conflicts with Iran. I mean, you already saw right now, Israel and Iran were attacking each other. So clearly all of that's gone, to shit. But, back then when Obama was in office, there was conversations that were being had. So I did get a chance to do some of that. But that's really what drove it is like, you go to war for this country to defend democracy, freedom, and you get back and you're like, hey, I want to be a part of that. Like, I want to see what that's
you want to continue it. Yeah.
And so naturally go to school for political science.
Okay.
Yeah. So I ended up I graduated from UCLA with my bachelor's in political science, poli-sci.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice. And a UCLA graduate. I forgot to add that.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
I remember I was there. I was there.
So even like the UCLA experience, but that's kind of what drove that initial spark in
so
politics.
It's all kind of like connected in a way.
Well, it was more like so I was taking a political science class in community college, and I had I'm not gonna say his name, but I had a professor, and I was trying to get out of going to school, and I was like, I wonder if I can get out of going to his class, because I don't want to. It's a poli sci class, so I told him like, hey, I told my professor, hey, do you have anybody that is doing any campaigns? Because I really just want to get involved with politics.
Yeah.
And I said, but my deal is that I don't want to just make calls. I want to get the full scope. And he had a buddy of his from college that would run campaigns. And so I negotiated a deal with my poli-sci professor that I would spend, a few hours going and volunteering.
Yeah.
And that at the end of the semester, I just did like a report on what I experienced, all that stuff. Like that was kind of like the deal that we cut.
That you cut. That's how. Okay.
Yeah, but it was amazing. I got a chance to, get the first taste of politics, the making the calls, knocking on doors, getting all the data of like what people are saying, how they're responding. And it really was one of those, opportunities where I got a chance to kind of get a look behind the curtain. Yeah, and apparently I did a pretty good job because
apparently,
they wanted to call me back, and then I said, "Look, if you want me back," I said, "I can't come as a volunteer because I was all volunteer."
Yeah,
and that's when I picked up my first contract as working for a campaign. It was $3,000 a month.
Wow.
To work as a campaign lead, and it was literally just. I think at that time we had like 15 phone bankers, and then we had, I want to say at some point, like 45 or 60 people that were walking, split up into two teams. So we had about 75 to 80 people that were working.
Wow.
And then obviously if you do real estate, the cold calling and all that, that's really what it was, like the call centers. Like you're calling people and they're like, what the fuck do you want? Why are you calling my fucking phone?
I'm gonna hang up.
Yeah. Sorry. But what I realized very quickly is the way people make their decisions in LA. LA is very racial.
Yeah.
Like I remember this candidate we're working for, and people were like, "Oh, can we get your support for this person?" And they'd be like, "Is he black?"
Oh my!
And I'm like, "Yeah, he's black."
Sure.
Then he's got my vote. I'm like, "Fuck, that's it."
That's crazy.
That's all it takes. And so unfortunately, there's people that's how they make their decisions.
Yeah.
But there is a saying, not all skin folk or kin folk. So just because somebody is black or just because somebody's Latino does not mean that they have the best interest for you.
Yeah,
for you, for your beliefs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot of Hernandezes and Lopez and Flores and all. There's a lot of folks that they're just it's just a last name.
Yeah,
they're people just by name. Yeah. Then like how you get into politics, right? And so my whole thing is I started getting into politics almost it's been 12 years now.
Oh, wow.
Right. And the funny thing is when I was doing when I was working as a campaign, at a field lead, I was working as a full-time youth counselor for the same home that I told you I was a part of as a kid.
Wow.
I went back and I worked there as a independent living program coordinator.
Oh, wow.
And there was about 6 kids that we had up in there in IOP, and we were helping them with soft skills to transition out. So resume writing, interview skills, like all of that. We're helping, probation youth, foster kids,
wow,
get jobs, right? you know, transition from like being institutionalized to like being on your own, creating, you know, grocery lists, following like meal plans, like all of that. Like I was sitting there and I was like, this is like a great program, right? Because what you're talking about is like home economics. And as you know, home ec, I think got cut in like 1994. They stopped doing auto shop. They started doing home ec, wood shop. All of those programs were gone. Yeah. So you got people that were graduating from college, you know, high school. And at some point you'd be able to, you know, make a nice breakfast, how to iron, how to do like the basic skills. Yeah. And at some point school said, well, that's not our role. For us, it's just reading, writing, and math. And you have a lot of people today that, you know, can't, you know, make blanquillos. You know? You can't make weenies con huevos. They throw the huevos first and then throw the raw weenie after. No saben calentar el agua. And you're like, you're supposed to cook the weenie first and then throw the huevo. And do it the opposite way. No. But I'm just saying, like, you have, but I'm saying, like, you have stuff that you assume. And I think that's the crazy, the dynamic is like, you assume that the cards you have, the upbringing you had, that your values, your principles, we assume that people have that. That's our problem. I think that's the problem is we assume it. Yeah. We assume. And it's the same thing with anything. You know, as people, we're just lazy. Like, we just like to take shortcuts. That's what you go to the political event. Oh, what party are you with? I'm a Democrat. You're Democrat. Yeah, but like you start talking about guns, like I'm a strong believer of the Second Amendment. Right. And the fact that we have an obligation to educate the public on how to be responsible gun owners. And people, Democratic Party will lose their shit over like, there's a Democrat that say this is like, what? Nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Like, so, you know, it's, people try to put you in these boxes. Because they're lazy. They don't want to know who you are. They don't want to know the intricacies of the dynamics of, you know, who you are as people.
Or just view it in a different perspective. They're so used to what they grew up with.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. So I mean, I think, you know, I like to think that the life I'm living and you know, even like my role, like I really sit there sometimes. I'm like, who let me be married? Who let me? I said, who let me be married? Because I said, because you know, like me, I don't like. I speak facts. Like, if something's going on and I see that it's wrong, like,
that's why. That's why you're mayor.
That's why you're mayor.
And some people are like, they're like,
they got rid of the fraud.
You gotta be careful. You can't say stuff like that, or these people are gonna get mad at us. And then I tell people like, look, this is one of those situations where you have to let me finish, because I'll tell people. And by the way, my election's coming up next June is my re-election. And then I tell people, because we have these conversations and they're like, okay, Huntington Park, they're like, you guys pass, you know, Sanctuary City. Okay, Huntington Park, you guys pass like rent control. You guys pass body cams on the police. Like this is all issues that, you know, not even 2 years, 5 months ago, no one would ever thought that the city of Huntington Park would have ever even considered this. And we've done it all. And then I told people, I said, look, you have to have political courage. Like, you have to have political courage. And at the same time, when re-election becomes a threat, like, people try to find ways to control you, especially as an elected official. Hold on, I'm getting ready to spit some facts. Let me crack my neck. But I had meetings when I first came in, and people were like, oh, you know, council member Arturo, oh, you have a bright future ahead of you, and you know, you just let us know what you need, and you let us know, because we see you at the state. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm not interested in going to the state. Well then what? I'm like, no, I'm good at the city. And over the years, like, I became vice mayor and then now mayor, and the conversation now is shifting. It went from assembly to, you know, state senate. There's people that are like, so when are you running for Congress? And I'm like, Congress? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not interested in Congress. Like, you have to operate, like, you have to have the mindset of like thinking like, look, I don't give a fuck if I get reelected, right? When you're making these hard choices, you're like, you have to really be like, that's not what your choice making should be like. Am I going to get reelected or not? Yeah. It should be, is this at least for the people? Because it really is sometimes you make decisions that a small, you know, people, it's a small population, but it's for the greater good.
Mm-hmm.
And you really have to like make those choices.
Yeah.
It's a tough choice to make because I'll run into people that are like, oh yeah, I saw that you guys passed rent control in your city. And I'm like, well, first of all, it's rent decontrol. And then second of all, whenever you have tenants that switch out, you can literally adjust it to market rate. So I'm not even sure what the
issue is.
Yeah. I said, but
why are you mad? Do you have a property?
They do. And they live in Downey. They live in Downey, but they own in Huntington Park. And I tell people like, look, but what that has allowed us to do is now we're able to get a full accounting of all the rental properties that we have. And now we're really able to see, now we're seeing that in Huntington Park, we have 70% rentership. And I know all my real estate folks are going to love this because let me tell you about the importance of home ownership. That's what I say. My real estate agents are going to love this. Like for our generation and when it comes, down to building generational wealth, the number one way to do that is through the acquisition of real estate. It's through literally owning property, owning real estate, whether it's commercial or whatever. In my city, we have an issue because the people that live in my city, only 30% of them are actually owners. Meaning that they're the ones that own it and they live on the property.
Live there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, everybody else has owners, but they own the property, but they don't live in the city. They either moved out, they outgrew it. Maybe it was a starter property, and then they started making more money. Now they live in Moreno Valley. Now they live in Downey, and that's what we're seeing that's happening. And let me tell you what that does. If you're walking out and you own the property and you see a piece of trash, you say, "Oh, let me pick that up."
Yeah,
it makes the neighborhood look bad. Or, for example, like the grass, right? The grass is dying and it's brown. I'm not gonna waste water on that. It's not my house.
Yeah.
But as a homeowner, you're like, let me figure out how I can make this look nice. Make it popular. By the way, my grass in front of I just moved to my house. The grass is dead, but I'm going to do artificial grass and we're going to, spruce it up. But there's an ownership, there's a pride, and it all creates this chain of events, this effect of, you essentially become like a de facto protector of the community. You start being more mindful of, like, even the other day, there was a guy leaving the liquor store and passed out on the corner. And immediately I'm like, hey, can we get a wellness check on this guy? And the police came out and they picked him up, got him an ambulance. But, there's people that they see stuff like that and they're like,
yeah, regular day in the hood.
And they normalize it.
Yeah.
It.
Well, that's.
And so to me, it's like, I don't want, the community members to be seeing that. And the guy was on the corner of the sidewalk for like a good 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Before I even realized, like, I'm over here cleaning my grill, and then I look, and I'm like, is that somebody on the ground? Yeah. And I like immediately get on the phone, like, hey, I need to get a wellness check.
Because we're not humans nowadays. It's like, if it doesn't affect me, I'm not doing nothing about it.
Yeah.
Si no me, como en español, there's a saying, like, si a mí no me está molestando, yo por qué me voy a meter?
Yeah.
I think that's our issue,
the other way. People just like to look the other way.
And then there's a phenomenon called the bystander phenomenon, which is like when you see something happening, and I think now there's something even worse. I call it the influencer phenomenon, which is you see something happening,
Marlo,
and you're like, let me record this shit.
Yeah, because I want to go viral.
Let me post it.
Let me go live.
Let me just post it.
But I mean, you've had incidents where there's people that are stepping in to do the right thing, and you have another 5 or 6 people that are recording it. Yeah. And it'll be like a guy struggling, to detain or hold someone, and you have 6 other people that are recording.
Oh my God.
Where if they were to step in, they'd be able to, with the less minimal force, help out on what's going on. Yeah. But I will tell you this, like, historically, I have minded my business because even like with law enforcement, right? The number one killer, like the number one cause where law enforcement ends up getting hurt or killed, and then it's usually domestic violence calls. And you've seen this incident where there'll be a couple that's fighting, and somebody will step in, hey, don't be in here, and they'll start beating the dude up, and the girl will start beating
the dude that was trying to help her. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, like, I'm using that as an example. That's not an overgeneralization, but I'm just saying that's an example, and it could be the other way too.
Yeah,
like,
vice versa.
A girl hitting a guy, and another girl steps in, hey, don't be hitting him, and then you start fighting, and then so. I mean, these are all just like very like loaded like social like questions, and they really hit at the core of like the principles and values and like stepping in. But yeah, that's my jab about home ownership and stuff.
So basically, go buy a home if you don't have a home, and stay in your city. Don't be buying a home and leave the city. So you can take care of your city.
So right now, it's interesting. Right now, rates I think are like 6.8, 6.5. Actually, I got my real estate license last year.
There is a point to this, guys.
I'm not.
Hit 'em up.
There's not a
marketing
plug. I'm not a plug. I'm not actively. I will not be a real estate agent. Find somebody else.
Oh, we got somebody else.
We got somebody else. Hold on.
Oh yeah, I think you guys do have somebody else, huh? But my point is this. Yes, my point is have a plan. Like have a plan to become a homeowner. Look, if you're not planning for it, then if you're not planning for it to happen, like if you're not planning and preparing for success, then you're not serious about it. And that's the reality of it, right?
You just got to do it. Just
100%,
do it.
100%. If you say this, hey, if you say, put a list of the things that you want to do in your life, and you say, I want to do these 5 things, but not one of those things has an actual plan. Let's say you say, hey, I want to save $10,000 this year or whatever, but it's like, and then you say, well, how am I going to do that? And then obviously you reverse engineer that question. You reverse engineer, okay, well, if I start putting this aside for this long, then by the time that are we getting robbed?
Are we getting robbed right now? Shoot.
But if you don't have a plan for it, then it's fugazi. There really is no plan. There really is no, whatever you wrote down, just rip it up, tear it up. There's no point in you, that's you, living on hopes and dreams, right? Hopes and dreams. Yeah. Real results come with a plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want something, if you say these are my goals, and then you have to be like, and then this is a plan to get to those goals. And so
drop your mic. Drop there.
Drop the mic.
If you don't got something behind those dreams and goals, mejor no hagas nada.
Yeah, you have to.
So going to that, when did you decide your goal was to be mayor? And like,
I did
because you lived a whole different life. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, well. I didn't. So the way that our mayorship works is usually rotating. Look, Huntington Park's been in the news a lot. A lot of it's for immigration.
Yeah.
But if people look and type in Huntington Park, what they'll see is that this year in February, our city was raided by the district attorney's office. They executed 11 search warrants in our city, and it was over a project that took place about 5 years ago, like 2018, 2019, for a state-of-the-art aquatic center. It was a $25 million project.
Wow.
When I got on council, I started asking questions about the project. I started asking for the contracts. We quickly realized that there was no contract. There was no enforceable contract. The one that they did have, like, there was a lawsuit, and then they had to cancel it. And then the second one that they, drafted essentially was not enforceable because it was never signed by the city attorney, and it was never signed by the city manager. So I was like, well, can we get a breakdown of how much money we've spent?
Yeah.
And as it turns out, there's about $16 million that have been spent on this aquatic center, and we have nothing to show for it.
Wow.
It's literally just a fenced off area with a bunch of dead grass. And so,
it's like out of a movie.
I mean, I don't know how to explain it because, if you're an elected official and you're getting scrutinized for $16 million that are, hey, where'd the money go? And you say, hey, they're making they're making it up. It's bullshit. Wouldn't you want to then say, okay, they're making it up. It's bullshit. The money's right here and it's over here. And it was spent for this and that.
Yeah.
And what we're quickly finding out is that there is no legitimate answer. The questions that we're posing, the people that are supposed to have the answers have no idea either. And so I think at this point, it's going to become, it's a legal issue. Clearly, it's a criminal issue because you have the district attorney's office that's investigating. And I would even, hint that it's going beyond just district attorney's office. I think it's gotten to that level now where it goes beyond that. So I was a vice mayor when that
was happening. Okay.
And myself and my colleagues, made the choice to do the switch out the mayor a month before it was supposed to happen. So we did an early switch out. I became mayor, and one of my colleagues became vice mayor. And so I literally, became mayor during a time of crisis. And, the first thing that I talked to the city manager is like, let's bring on, a consultant that deals specifically with crises. Let's, open everything up.
Open the can of worms.
Open everything up. I said, let's not hide anything. Let's over communicate with the community. Let's make sure that they know everything that we know, they know. I said, we're going to do the exact opposite of what other cities would do, which is just keep everything quiet. Don't talk to nobody. We even voted to, when you have a lawyer and you say, hey, I have this question for you. And the lawyer says, I can't answer that. Attorney-client privilege. Mm-hmm. We as a city voted to revoke attorney-client privilege for the district attorney, for the FBI, for any state, local, or federal investigatory agency that wanted to come in and look or, poke around. Mm-hmm. We said the city, we're going to remove that.
Wow.
To say essentially like our attorneys can't invoke or say attorney-client privilege. I can't give you that document or I can't answer that question. We said, no, that's not happening. We're going to open it up. And so a lot of people were not happy with that. But at the end of the day, we owe it to the residents. The part of it that is the most, fucked up, I would say, is that this is not money that came from the state. Mm-hmm. This is not money that came from the federal government. This is money that, came from the general fund. And what is a general fund, right? The general fund is literally tax dollars. It's literally money that people give whenever they pay their taxes, whenever they go and they, buy something and they pay tax. Like,
Yeah.
So it really is $16 million that's missing or that we don't know. That's the people's money. Yeah. And now, could you imagine what you could do right now when we're dealing with the ICE raids to help businesses out, to help families that might need some legal help, or to help people that are too afraid to go out and buy groceries? The partnerships that we could do with $1 million, $2 million with Postmates, DoorDash to deliver groceries.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't even have to hire anybody. We literally can go to these companies and say, hey, look, if they get a code, the family gets a code, then they can order groceries and they will get delivered to their home.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the possibilities are endless, but that's a part that really, made me realize that the people that, and even when I came in, I thought that I was part of that political team. That when I came in, I was like, something's like very wrong here.
Yeah.
Right? Like something's very wrong. And I think they just thought that I was just going to be like another, you just rubber stamp stuff, right? And that I wasn't going to have questions. But I'm telling you right now, from the first day that I came in, the first thing that I asked for was like, hey, can I get a budget?
Yeah.
When I got appointed to the city council back in September of 2022. Day one, I said, can I get a budget for the city? And you know what they told me? We don't have a budget. The city of Huntington Park has a $93 million budget every year.
Wow.
And with state and federal funds, our budget goes up to, I think, like 120, 128. So think about it, $128 million. And you mean to tell me that you don't have a budget for where that money goes, how it gets spent? I couldn't even believe it.
Why is Huntington Park still looking like TJ?
Exactly.
What?
No, so I mean, but
that's why you're here now.
Yeah,
but it's a fair question though.
I might just want to buy in Huntington Park now if you're gonna, remodel the whole damn city.
It's a fair question, right? We're not denying that there was good stuff that happened, but what we are saying is that there was some stuff that should have never happened.
Yeah.
And that Aquatic Center is one of those things that it should have never happened.
Yeah.
The contractor that they hired had never built any pools, had no experience building aquatic centers at all.
That's crazy.
I'm wondering if it was somebody's steal that they tried to build.
Probably, man. Shoot, they probably out in
Let me put you on payroll real quick.
And like, tío, I know you just do jardín, but you're going to build a state-of-the-art aquatic center now. And by the way, it's $25 million. You're going to get a $10 million wire transfer next week.
Yeah.
But that's what happened. We saw when we started getting information, we saw that there was a wire transfer for like 1.5 that went out. Actually, first it was 8.7.
Wow.
8.7 million. Imagine you do a project like, hey, we're going to do a project. Oh, and by the way, in a month, you're going to get $8.7 million. You haven't even dug a fucking hole.
Yeah.
And you're already getting an $8.7 million check. Oh, and by the way, then 2 weeks after that, you're going to get another $1.7 million. Yeah. So by the time, literally within no project, nothing has started, nothing has been built, nothing's been dug, and you're already at $10 million in your account.
Yeah.
So to be fair, the project got stalled because of the state and the county got tipped off. And you already know that when you're going to build anything in LA,
fighting the fly.
Yeah. We're fighting the damn fly over here. What the heck?
But
No,
but you already know that when you're going to build something, if you're a developer, you know this. When you're going to build something, first of all, just to get entitlements takes you like 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Then you have to go through the CEQA. You know what I'm saying? Then you have to go through the CEQA. Then you have to, literally, there's like a list of stuff that you have to do, especially when it comes to an enclosed pool. The issue was that the area used to be a landfill. And so the moment that you try to build anything, now you have CalWorks or Cal Recycle that gets involved, and now you have the LEA, which is local. It's the county one, but they come in. They have to dig. They have to do vapor testing because what happens with, and I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a new technology with like, landfills where there's gas that comes out. It's called natural gas, and there's literally, technology where they'll put like a building on top of a landfill, and the gases that come up, they'll capture the gases, and then they'll clean them, and then they'll put them in tanks, and then they actually run agents. They run engines. It's called like natural gas, I think. But it's actually like this entire industry that, it's a $1 billion industry, $1 million, but it's actually like different form. It's an alternative form of technology. So they were going to put this building on top of this former landfill, and it was enclosed. So imagine if you have your kids who are swimming and they drop this, however many tons on an old landfill, and the gases from the landfill, because of the weight, start to come up, and the gases are toxic.
Wow.
And it's enclosed.
Yeah.
And you have kids that are inside and staff, and then for whatever reason they die or they get sick or they get ill.
Yeah.
Then you just wasted, whatever you built, you just wasted it. Right. And so that was more the concern about why, they had all, they stalled it and they had all that. But there's some other political tea there, but we'll get into it.
We'll get to for the next episode.
Yeah. But long story short, like that's what I came into that.
Yeah.
Right? I came into like having all these questions, and then as time went on, I started realizing like a lot of people don't know this, but the raids, like the raids of Huntington Park that happened with the pool, we already as a city had internal investigations going for the pool and for some other contracts. And so the DA came in. The DA came in because we had a councilwoman that was living in the city of Southgate.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
And so the police department actually raided her 2 homes. She raided the fake one. Sorry, they raided the fake one in Huntington Park and the real one in Southgate. And they found her in Southgate. All her stuff there, dirty calzones, todo. And then what they quickly realized was like, she probably hasn't been living in the city, probably never.
Never. Yeah.
The whole time that she's been on the council, she never lived there.
Lived in the city.
Is what
That's crazy.
Essentially happened. But long story short, when the DA saw that we had done that raid, they freaked out and they panicked. And they said, oh, like we have to go in, because if they're already raiding them, that means that they're going to start deleting evidence. They're going to start all the other ones for the pool. I had no idea. I'm just like, huh? And then that's what ended up triggering it. So a lot of people think like it was like a tip off or like somebody called. No, it wasn't that.
Yeah.
They had already been investigating this for about 4 years.
Wow.
Yeah. That there's already complaints where they were actively investigating. And then we ended up, as a city, the police department ended up doing their raids against the former councilwoman.
Yeah.
And that's what freaked them out. And so it essentially ended up having this kind of pinball effect. But
everything just started.
Yeah. But it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I mean, look, money can corrupt you,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
And you're talking about a city that has a budget of $93 million. That's 93 and it's 6 zeros, right? A lot of people never see that type of money in their lifetime. And you're talking about 5 council members that have full control over how to spend that money.
Yeah.
Imagine you get a group of your friends and there are 5 of you guys and they say, okay, figure out, you have to run this business and then figure out how you're going to spend it. Okay, once you get all the essentials out of the way, now you have, a few million here, a few million there. You can do that project, right? Like that's really what essentially what being on a council is. You have to, and the thing is you have to do it openly and publicly, having discussions about how to spend the budget, what programs to support, which ones not to. And so you really want to be careful because when you're in office, you have this like high level of scrutiny when it comes to public funds. Yeah. And so I tell people like, if you're an elected official, just fucking stay broke. Stay po, not poor. Stay po, P-O-O. It's true because what happens? You fucking pull up. One of my friends, I'm gonna buy. He said, "Hey, dude, I found this Bentley." Wow. I said, "What? You gonna buy a fucking Bentley?" He's like, "It's only $35,000." I said, "Yeah, but it's not about how much it costs. It's about you're an elected official driving a fucking Bentley." Yeah.
While your city is over here struggling.
Yeah,
while your city's struggling.
Bentley.
Yeah. Bentley. So, optics, it's unfortunate, but if you're in office, optics are, they're very important. I mean, I cuss a lot,
you're human. I mean,
I
you're
use
being
profanity.
honest.
You're authentic. You're
Yeah.
authentic. Because I curse a lot too. Ain't
I
nothing
remember I
wrong with
went
that.
off. There was a, ICE did a raid on one of the family's homes, and me, I'm like, talking to all these cameras, and the cameras, by cameras I mean people with their phones out. They're on lives, and they're there's like apparently that's a thing. Like apparently now it's a thing where people are just riding around, going on live, talking about the city.
Yeah.
And not only and people are actually giving them gifts and supporting them.
Yeah.
But I was in front of this family, and I'm just like, oh, like I just want you guys to know, like, I don't say this lightly, but I'm like, fuck ICE. And I'm saying it in Spanish, like chingo la migra. And I'm like, and I know there might be some people out there that are outraged by it. Oh my God, the mayor of Huntington Park said fuck ICE. I said, but ask yourself this: how are you not outraged about the guy that fell 30 feet to his death? How are you not outraged about the woman that was 5 months pregnant and lost her baby? How are you not outraged about the countless of people that are older, that are getting kidnapped, that are not getting blood pressure, heart medication, that are fucking dying?
Yeah.
I said, how are you outraged about me saying a bad word?
Yeah.
But you ain't tripping off of that.
Yeah.
I said, that's a real question.
Yeah.
So,
You got no soul.
So,
I mean, that's not for me to decide, but that's a conversation they have to have themselves with
God.
Yeah.
with all of that, what legacy do you hope to leave behind, not just as a mayor, but as a man?
That's a good one.
And we're going to wrap with that one.
That's a good one. I think for the mayor as a politician, I think it really is like the people's voice. That's my legacy, is like that whenever an issue was brought up to me by the community, that not only, were they given the time of day, but they were heard. Because I think a lot of politicians, they'll listen and then, they'll make you feel good, and then, you'll leave and then nothing will ever come from that conversation. And we had a few instances where people come to the council and they, something the city's going to do, we hear them, and then next, like that decision gets reversed. And people are like, what the fuck? This never happens. And then people don't realize, like, look, when you have public servants at the helm, we will listen to you, and we will take it, concerns into consideration. As a man,
as a father,
story. As a father, as a husband, as a brother,
as a man, I think with me, it's just breaking the cycles, right?
Yeah.
Earlier when we had a conversation, I had mentioned it, like joking around. I said, look at everything that I've accomplished with what I was given.
Yeah.
Right. Foster care.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to go to the military. Pretty much been on my own since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And then I said, could you imagine what my daughter is going to accomplish in the world?
Yeah.
And I said, now that to me is something that I'm looking forward to. Like, my legacy as a man is like, really, if I got where I got with what I got, then making sure that whatever it is that she wants to do in the world, that there's never a, well, I would want to do that, but I don't this. Like, I want my daughter to be like, oh yeah, like I wanted to do this, and
I'm gonna do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I want my daughter to be a trust fund baby, 100%.
Yes.
100%. I'm serious. Like, I was already talking to. I have my younger sister. I was talking to her like, hey, I need to do I need to do a trust. She's like, why? I'm like, oh, we need to move the property over. She needs to be named as a beneficiary.
Yeah.
And she was like, like,
she's 4 months.
Yeah, she's 4 months. I said, yeah, she's gonna be 4 months, and in 4 months, and remember, with trust, you can actually put money in there. You can put assets. You can put that on the trust, and whenever I die, if she's underage, obviously there'll be other people that are named to control the trust. But the moment that she becomes of age, she will be control that trust.
Definitely breaking cycles with that trust fund.
Yeah, and then it's like I got her her social security, and I was already like, okay, let me go see if I can open up a bank account. I got to do an LLC. I got to start building business credit for her.
Let's just start already.
Yeah, I was already like,
but see, that's part of
I got to get her a passport. Yeah, I know adults that don't have passports.
Yep.
Now let me figure out how I get my 4-month daughter passport.
Her TCA, what is that? To go up through the line.
Yeah. Well, the crazy part is, like, I don't really talk about, like, first of all, I don't talk about my family. I don't talk about my daughter a lot. And I'll tell you why. Like, it's Southeast politics, they're fucking cutthroat.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, these motherfuckers have no respect for nothing.
Yeah.
Not nobody, not your wife, not your baby, nothing. And the crazy part is that for the past couple of months, like, there's a website, they've been attacking me, they've been making up all this shit. Oh, trust me, like, I would do the same thing of, if there was somebody that was, talking about $16 million.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking have killed better men for less. So when people tell me like the fears, like I do have very genuine fears about retaliation, about, and I made it very clear, like I'm not one to play with. Like I'm, I tell people like I pride myself that I'm a hard man to kill, and it's not, it's not like, I grew up in South Central, surrounded by gangs. I understand some of that mentality. Then I went to the Marines. Then I went to war twice.
Dios te preparó para este
100%.
momento.
Yeah. And it's a delayed response. Like I know that at some point they're gonna wait for people to forget, and then they're gonna circle the block and try to get their lick back. Yeah. But I think they might find out the hard way that that's probably not gonna work out for them. But I pray, and I think this is something I wanted to wait till the end to bring up. But people ask me all the time, like, Arturo, like, how do you do it? They're like, you're the mayor, you're a dad, you're at USC doing your master's. Yeah. But I'm doing my master's at USC.
Oh, wow.
Congrats.
Year number 2, September.
Congrats.
Master's in urban planning. So I my goal is to become a professor. But the point is this, like I tell people, and I tell people, and I live by this. I tell people, you know what? I'm gonna be honest with you. I said God. I said my gospel of like how I'm here walking around doing what I'm doing. Yeah, that's my testimony. Yes, right. Amen. And I pray. There's a prayer, and I don't want to get too religious on you guys, but there's a prayer I say every night, and I've been saying it for the past 13 years. Oh, wow. And I say it before I go to sleep, and this action has completely changed my life, has completely, literally redirected a lot of it, and I'll share it with you guys right now. But the idea of it, of just something so simple, right? This little subtle change is what I like to call it is intentional realignment, right? Before I go to sleep at night, I say, God, and I'll sit there. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. I think one time I was in bed and I was like doing this.
I can just
and then my sister's like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm praying.
I'm praying.
Yeah, I have my hands up. It's like, I'm praying. But I say, God, I say, thank you for the blessings that you've given me. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for the blessings that you will give me. And then at the end, which is the most important thing, I say, I'm grateful and I'm worthy.
Amen.
And when I do this, a few things when I do it. One is I'm acknowledging that, that I'm receiving blessings.
Yeah.
So even if you have the shittiest day, there's an acknowledgement of blessings that you're getting and the ones that you will receive. So now you're injecting optimism.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
Right? So it's like, hey, I'm acknowledging I'm being blessed and I will be blessed. The second thing is I'm grateful. For us, even though we're all complex, all these, brain, millions of neurons following, we are also very simplistic. If you feel grateful for something, then you can't feel anger. You can't feel anxiety.
Absolutely.
You can't feel anger. So when you feel, at the end of the night, when you fill your heart with gratitude, and you go to sleep, you're going to sleep feeling grateful.
Amen.
It's one of the most beautiful feelings ever.
Yeah.
And then the last one, I'm worthy.
Yep.
That one's just about self-love.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the times we have things that happen in our life and we fucking self-sabotage.
Yes.
We self-sabotage, we fuck it up, and then we're like, well, because and that's and then it was a red bow. And fuck that, because I ain't doing no red bow. He already knows I have white bows, and then you're like, really? But I'm just saying, like, the I am worthy part is really what hits home.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of us, when we do take these steps, these actions, the optimism, the gratitude, and then at the end, like, I am worthy opens up the door that you're accepting the blessing that's coming your way. The blessing is beautiful.
Yes. That was beautiful.
We love this. Yes.
Love
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh, so what are the questions you have?
That's it.
Well, I have one more. If for the people of Huntington Park that want to reach you and get in contact with you for whatever they might need, how can they contact you?
So for Huntington Park, my email is aflores@hpca.gov. And so if they want to get a hold of me, they can just shoot me an email. Instagram, my handle is Mayor Art Flores. I don't have a TikTok. Apparently, that's a big thing.
We're
now.
about to make you one right
People,
now.
I've seen that. People get zombied out on the
You
scroll.
really do, though. Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
It's bad.
People get zombied out on the scroll.
Yeah.
It's real easy to lose
So we
yourself
need to
on
hire
TikTok.
you a marketing person to make
I
your
need.
TikTok.
I probably do need somebody to show me. First of all, show me TikTok and what's the new stuff with TikTok.
we got Marlo here.
No, but I'll tell you this. All jokes aside, like I have, 13 years of experience doing political campaigns. So the social media, the mass communications, emails, mails, text messaging, like it's not even the digital stuff. Like I understand it. TikTok, I've made it a point to just like stay
out of it, huh?
Yeah.
It really is addicting.
Yeah.
Instagram, I'll do Instagram, Facebook, but I think at some point, obviously with the younger generation, it's inevitable. I will have to make a TikTok. But for the residents of Huntington Park, and I would say even just in general for people that are out there that are kind of dealing with this, like this is something that we're gonna. First of all, I never imagined that we'd be dealing with like the immigration stuff at the rate that we're dealing with it, and we didn't even get into that part.
Yeah,
we have to do a part 2.
Yeah, we will do a part 2.
Yeah, but what I will say this is like at the end of the day, don't forget, like, just make sure you take care of each other. Make sure that where you live, who your neighbors are, or where you go to work at, who your coworkers are. Just take care of each other.
Yeah,
I mean, when it's all said and done, Democrats, Republicans, they have their own agenda that they're going to push, and some of them would love to just see us all fucking fighting all the time. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you work with people that are Republicans, that are Democrats. You go to school with people. You have neighbors. My neighbor's email is "I love Trump." 100%.
Wow.
But you think that if I saw him, his house getting broken into, or him getting dragged out by somebody trying to cause him harm, I'm not gonna involve myself. 100% I will. That's my neighbor.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't even know what fucking neighbor it is.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find out now. No, because you guys are like FBI, girls are like, we won't find out who this guy is. Quick.
Real quick.
They'll start walking around waiting for the bars to go down. Oh look, it's 4 bars right here. It's his house. No, but my point is this, like, I have a neighbor. I love Trump. And I think about it, I'm like, no, if anything were to happen to my neighbors, I would step in. I wouldn't care about, hey, before I help you, what party are you from?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so I think we just have to,
what's your email?
Kind of remember that.
Yeah.
Like and I get it, because there's some people that are, spewing some stuff that is very hurtful, especially to Latino community, about who we are and what we are and what we do or what we bring to the country. But I have a lot of friends that I served with in the military that had some of those views. And, it took for us, to go to war together for them to understand what it truly, that being American, we're in on it together, or like that acknowledgement. It took going to war. So I hope that we don't have to go to war with a country for people to understand that there's people in this country that, yes, they don't have a document, but they're willing to die for this country.
Yes.
They're willing to fight for this country, and they love being part of the American dream just as much as the other Americans. Yeah. So, I'll leave you guys with that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll have to do part 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, part 2.
Part 2, Love Island edition.